Welcome back to the English Chat with Matt. Today we are opening with a quiet idea that can change not only your investing, but also your entire mindset about growth. It is the word compounding. For our English learners, compounding simply means small growth that builds on itself over time. It starts slowly, so slowly that you might think nothing is happening. But underneath that silence, something powerful is preparing to bloom. Olivia, when you hear the word compounding, what image comes to your mind?
Honestly, I picture a tiny seed underground, no sound, no movement. But every day, it is quietly organizing its strength. And for our listeners, here's a useful English phrase: quiet growth. It means progress that happens without noise or drama. Compounding is quiet growth. You cannot force it, you can only protect it. And that is why Charlie Munger said, never interrupt it. Matt, do you think most people interrupt their compounding too early?
All the time. Not because they are foolish, but because they are human. People want results they can see, and the beginning of compounding gives you nothing to see. Just boredom and a little doubt. So many investors jump in and out, react to the market, and reset the clock again and again. Here's a simple English phrase: let time work. If you do not let time work, compounding cannot breathe. It needs space, it needs patience, and it needs you to stay out of your own way.
And that is the funny part, because the same thing happens when people learn English. They study for 1 week, then stop for 3 weeks, then change their method again. They keep interrupting their own progress. So here's another useful phrase: stay consistent. Consistent means you keep going even when progress feels slow. Just like a seed does not grow faster because you stare at it. Your English does not grow faster because you worry. It grows because you show up a little every day.
Exactly. Consistency and compounding are partners. They work quietly, but they never stop working. The world loves speed, fast results, fast money, fast everything. But compounding belongs to a different world, a calmer world, a world where the timeline is measured in years, not days. And that gives us another English phrase for today: long-term horizon. Horizon means the far distance. A long-term horizon means you are looking far ahead, farther than your impatience.
And something beautiful happens when you finally allow yourself to see farther. You stop rushing. You stop checking every minute. You stop comparing your growth with everyone else. Another helpful English phrase is trust the process. It means you believe growth is happening even when you cannot see it yet. And honestly, Matt, have you ever had a moment in your investing where trusting the process felt harder than expected?
Definitely. There were times when the market moved down and my emotions wanted to move with it. But I forced myself to ask a simple question: did the business change? Or did only the price change? Most of the time, the company was still strong. It was my impatience that was weak. So here is one last English sentence for this segment. Do not interrupt compounding for emotional comfort. It feels good in the moment, but it destroys the miracle you are trying to build.
And that is the heart of segment one. Compounding is powerful, but fragile. It grows for you as long as you do not keep stopping it. So, whether you are investing, learning English, or building a new version of yourself, protect the small good things that are growing quietly. Let them stay alive long enough to surprise you, because the quiet miracle of compounding always begins before you can see it.
Let's move into something that quietly destroys compounding more than anything else: overtrading. For anyone learning English, overtrading simply means buying and selling too often. And the strange thing is, it rarely feels like a problem in the moment. It actually feels productive, like you're doing something for your money. But every extra trade adds friction. Friction is our key English word here. It means tiny costs like fees, taxes, or even the emotional stress of constantly checking prices. All these little pieces slowly eat the foundation of your long-term growth. Olivia, have you ever felt that doing more can sometimes make you grow less?
Absolutely. I think people confuse movement with progress, and that is the trap. To help our English learners, here's a phrase: silent erosion. Erosion means slow damage. Silent erosion means damage you don't notice until it's too late. That's what overtrading is. It's financial erosion and emotional erosion. Every time you buy and sell too quickly, you aren't investing anymore, you're reacting. And reacting is exhausting. It pulls you into short term thinking, which is exactly where compounding cannot survive.
Exactly. When people overtrade, their brain becomes wired to react to every tiny movement. Every dip becomes fear, every rise becomes excitement. And soon the market stops being a long-term landscape and starts feeling like a storm. Here's another vocabulary pair: noise versus signal. Noise is random movement. Signal is real information. Overtrading makes people chase noise, not signal. It's like checking your weight every 10 minutes. You aren't healthier, you're just stressed. And the irony is, most people don't lose money because they chose the wrong stock. They lose because they couldn't stop touching the right one.
And that leads to one more useful phrase: decision fatigue. Fatigue means tiredness. Decision fatigue means your brain gets tired because you're making too many choices. When you trade all the time, you drain your mental energy, and tired minds make impulsive choices. Suddenly, everything in the market feels urgent. Every headline feels important. But none of that is real. Real investing requires calm review, not constant reaction. And Matt, I think this applies to life too. If you jump between too many goals, you never stay long enough to grow in any of them.
That's a perfect connection. Overtrading is really a form of impatience, and impatience breaks everything it touches. Here's a simple English idea: opportunity cost. It means the value of the thing you lose because you chose something else too quickly. When investors jump from stock to stock, they give up the years of growth they needed to reach the meaningful part of compounding. It's like planting a tree, then digging it up every month to move it. The tree never grows roots, and neither does your wealth. Sometimes the smartest action is simply not acting.
So, the big lesson of this segment is simple: great investments don't need your constant attention. They need space, they need silence, they need time. Here's a final phrase for our English learners: stay with what matters. In investing, that means staying with strong companies long enough for their compounding to work. In life, it means giving your goals enough time to become something real. And in learning English, it means choosing a method you can stay with instead of switching every time progress feels slow. Overtrading breaks compounding, but patience protects it.
Now let's move into one of my favorite ideas in investing. A simple rule that sounds almost poetic: don't cut the flowers and don't water the weeds. In investing, flowers are your strong companies. They grow. They reinvest. They become bigger and better with time. Weeds are the weak companies. They drain your energy and your money. But here's the irony: many investors sell their flowers too early and hold their weeds for far too long. Olivia, don't you think people often get nervous when something is working?
Absolutely, it's a human reaction. When something goes up, people fear the gain will disappear. so they lock in profits too quickly. And when something goes down, they refuse to sell because the loss feels painful. This is a great moment to teach an English phrase, loss aversion. It means the pain of losing feels stronger than the joy of winning. That's why people water their weeds. They hope a weak business will magically recover, but weak economics doesn't heal with time. Only strong businesses compound.
Exactly. Time is a friend of the strong and an enemy of the weak. If a company has a durable advantage and smart management, time will make it flourish. If a company is declining, time will reveal the truth even more clearly. Here's a simple English line for listeners. Let your winners run. It means don't sell a great company just because it went up a little. Let it keep growing. Because the meaningful returns usually come after years of holding, not weeks.
And this rule applies beautifully to life too. Your flowers are the habits and relationships that help you grow. Reading, taking care of your health, practicing English, spending time with people who lift you up. Your weeds are the opposite. Bad habits, negative influences, things that drain your energy. Here's a phrase you can learn. Protect your flowers, meaning invest more of your time into what makes you better.
That's so true. A lot of people don't lack talent. They just spend too much time watering their weeds, holding on to things they know are not working, whether it's a stock, a habit, or even an identity they've outgrown. So here's a useful English sentence. Cut what weakens you. Keep what strengthens you. It's simple, but emotionally difficult. And that's why most investors interrupt their own compounding, not out of ignorance, but out of emotional attachment to their weeds.
So the lesson of segment 3 is crystal clear. When you find something great, let it grow. When something keeps shrinking, let it go. Don't interrupt the strong. Don't carry the weak. The market rewards those who stay with their flowers long enough to see their full potential bloom, and life rewards those who do the same. So ask yourself today, what are the flowers in my life, and am I cutting them too early?
Let's move into a principle that sounds simple, but quietly separates long-term investors from short-term gamblers. Let time do the heavy lifting. In English, heavy lifting usually means carrying something very heavy. But in investing, you are not the one carrying the weight. Time is. You don't have to outsmart the market every week. You don't need to predict every headline. Your real job is to let years do what days cannot. Olivia, don't you think people forget how powerful time really is?
They do, because time works slowly at first, and humans are addicted to fast results. Here's an English phrase that fits perfectly. Time is your partner. A partner is someone who works with you, not against you. If you choose a strong company, time becomes a powerful partner that adds growth quietly every year. More customers, better products, higher profits, even when the stock price seems to be sleeping. Matt, doesn't this remind you of learning English too?
Absolutely. People want instant fluency, just like they want instant wealth. But both English and investing follow the same rhythm. Slow, steady, invisible progress. Until one day everything suddenly feels easier. There's another useful phrase. Stay for the whole movie. Most people quit halfway. They never see the part where compounding finally accelerates. And in investing, the most beautiful scenes usually appear after the boring parts.
And the boring parts are essential. That's where character is built. That's where discipline is tested. Here's a phrase I love teaching: endurance mindset. Endurance means the ability to keep going. An endurance mindset is choosing to stay steady, even when progress is quiet. In a world that celebrates speed, choosing endurance makes you stand out. It makes you calmer, sharper, and eventually more successful.
And here's a truth many investors forget. Time exposes everything. It exposes weak companies because their problems get bigger. And it also exposes strong companies because their strengths become undeniable. So your real advantage is not predicting the market. It's surviving long enough for the truth to reveal itself. Patience is a form of intelligence that doesn't look smart immediately, but looks brilliant 5 years later.
So the heart of segment 4 is simple. If you choose well, time becomes a multiplier. If you interrupt constantly, time becomes meaningless. Let time do the heavy lifting. Let it deepen your investments, your habits, and even your identity. Because the things that truly matter grow slowly, but beautifully. And only those who stay long enough get to see the results.
Now that we've explored patience, time, and compounding, let's bring everything together into a simple framework, something anyone can use, even if they're new to investing or still learning English. A framework is like a mental structure, something stable you can return to again and again. The first pillar is clarity. Clarity means knowing what kind of businesses you want to own. Companies with strong advantages, honest leadership, healthy financials, and room to grow. When you choose clearly, you give time something worthy to work on. Olivia, don't you think most people struggle because they skip this step?
They really do. Many people invest without clarity. They listen to noise, trends, or random tips, but clarity reduces confusion. Here's a good English phrase: less but better. Instead of owning many random stocks, own a smaller group of great ones. The second pillar is reduction. Reduce unnecessary trades. Reduce emotional reactions. Reduce the pressure to do something, and because a calmer mind makes wiser decisions. Matt, I think this is just as true for learning English, right?
Absolutely. If you tried 10 different English methods in 1 month, you won't get anywhere. But choose one path and reduce the noise. Suddenly, your progress becomes steady. That leads to the third pillar, purposeful review. Purposeful review means checking your investments, but only for the right reasons. Is the business still growing? Is the advantage still strong? Is management still wise? If yes, your best action is often inaction. Olivia, doesn't this also apply to personal growth?
Completely. If your routine is working, reading, exercising, studying, you don't need dramatic changes, you just need consistency. Now let's talk about the final pillar: alignment. Alignment means your investing style matches your personality. Some people can handle volatility, some cannot. The best strategy is not the one that looks smartest on paper, but the one you can actually follow during fear, boredom, and uncertainty. Here's an English line: your temperament shapes your success.
Exactly. Successful investing is less about intelligence and more about character. If you can stay calm, think long term, and protect your compounding, you'll outperform people who know more but act emotionally. So the simple framework becomes this: choose well, trade less, think long. Let time work. It's not complicated, but it requires discipline, and discipline is what turns potential into results.
So the message of segment 5 is straightforward and powerful. Investing isn't about predicting the future. It's about preparing for it. Choose strong companies. Create a calm environment for your decisions. Stay aligned with who you are. And trust that time will turn your small, consistent choices into something meaningful, whether it's wealth, wisdom, or personal growth. Your future is built by the things you continue, not the things you constantly restart.
If today's conversation helped you see investing and even life with a little more clarity and calmness, we would love for you to stay on this journey with us. Every week, we explore ideas that grow slowly but powerfully, just like compounding. So, if you enjoy learning English through real wisdom and real conversations, consider subscribing to the podcast. Let's keep growing our minds and our wealth one quiet episode at a time.
And if something in this episode inspired you, maybe a phrase, a story, or a moment that made you think, share it with someone who might need it too, because wisdom compounds when more people hear it. Thank you for spending your time with us today. Stay patient, stay curious, and we'll meet you again in the next episode of English Chat with Matt.